everyone. Thanks for joining us today. It's almost the end of 2017 already, kind of hard to believe. So, it's a time of a lot of vacation, so thanks for taking the time to be here, but also looking ahead at some projects that you've got on your plate for 2018. So today we are going to be talking about the top 10 checklist for your e-commerce portal project for 2018. I'm Katie Wakish, the Sales and Marketing Coordinator here at EASYCommerce, and joining me today is Doug Pulaski, the Director of Sales and Marketing, and Suman Prasad, the Chief Technology Officer. Just before we get started, there is a question box on the right-hand side, so send your questions at any time during the presentation. We might get to them at that moment, or we'll definitely get to them at the end. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Doug.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you, everyone, for taking your valuable time and attending this webinar. As Katie said, it's hard to believe we're mid-December, and at least in the northern hemisphere here, approaching the shortest day of the year. So that's always, I consider that optimistic. The winter solstice, days getting longer, even though there's that lag effect. But I do want to focus on the high level, the agenda. I don't like a lot of PowerPoints and, PowerPoint saturation to the point where, I'm not getting to the demo, because the demo, that's where that old saying, a picture tells 1,000 words. So a lot of the points in the PowerPoint are best illustrated by showing you the functionality. We talk about robust integration, and let me show that. Let me show you advanced pricing and the order crate and a return process and a change management with an order, and how we're real-time integrated with JD Edwards, etc. So that's why I want to try to get to the live demo as soon as possible, and I'll go through the PowerPoint. PowerPoint, though, is important because I want to set the foundation for who we are, EASY Systems, how we're positioned in the JD Edwards marketplace. So let's go. And the first slide here is about EASY. It's a virtual meeting, this webinar. We're located, our headquarters in Aurora, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. If you're familiar with the Naperville area, Route 59 and Ogden Avenue, we're on there's a Fox River Mall, and we're on the outer road boundary in a very nice office complex. And we're 14 years old. What's important on this slide is we're a pure software company. We're a software company focused on value add to the JD Edwards ERP. Even though we've extended the integration to SAP and EBS, Oracle EBS, and even Microsoft Exapta and Dynamics AX, my focus personally, 21 years with JD Edwards. I worked at JD Edwards from 1997 to 2002, so I was there at the time JD Edwards went public, and more important, the rollout to what was called One World before PeopleSoft in 03 changed the name. And I have just good background in JD Edwards. I left JD Edwards in 02, and I've been in the eco space ever since, focused on this topic, e-commerce and payments, and that is our #1 practice area. So I'm, noting that. But we have a platform, and it's a development platform. And the first incarnation of EASY, the first decade, we were with this platform. We did custom projects, and it just so happens that e-commerce and payments turned into our top practice area, but we did custom projects, and we have solutions not only tied to order to cash or quote to cash, but what JD Edwards and other ERP systems call procure to pay, the procurement, vendor onboarding, PO management and acknowledgement from a centralized portal between suppliers and buyers, PO requisitioning with punch-out, stock, non-stock items, ASN, transportation for real-time visibility, AP automation, voucher, two-way, three-way. So, and we've done other like portal records automation, item master, create, a just real streamlined process for that, and other custom developments. I'm going to relate back to why that's possible and that legacy of KRISE focusing on custom projects and applications in just a second. But this slide pretty much proves to everyone that we're not new to the J.D. Edwards marketplace. Not only my personal background, but others here. We were involved in J.D. Edwards implementations. We are J.D. Edwards integration experts. We know J.D. Edwards inside and out. And here's a representation of some of these are all J.D. Edwards customers. And here's the proud thing that I like to say as a sales and marketing guy, because this statement that I'm making, all these and all of our JDE companies are referenceable. And I couldn't say that without our delivery, without the ownership of KRISE stepping up to the plate. And you have issues and things that you need to do, but we always resolve it, and our deliverables are in fact successful with everybody. Every one of our customers, I'm proud to say, could be a reference account. And the topic today is what's important about e-commerce. And here it is right here. We're going to drill down into each of these, but the marketing side, the planning and execution, in other words, defining your requirements, the design and branding. What I've learned, and I've been involved in over 100 e-commerce projects from a consulting perspective, is regardless of all of the functionality with finding items and the checkout and the integration and the nuances, the bottom line is when you go live, the users have to like it. And what that means is you can't have more than 2 seconds delay when doing the J.D. Edwards integration. The GUI needs to be intuitive. And not only do they need to like it, but here's the bottom line with project success. They come back. They become a repeat customer. So that's what we're going to be talking about, and design and branding is a big part of that. A faceted search engine. So this is, the heart and soul of any e-commerce. E-commerce is centric around products. And when I use the word portal, I'm referring to the inquiries, which is what some companies from an ROI call phone call deflection. What's the status of my order? Invoices, payments, statements, quickly getting a tracking number or it proactively being sent. So there's two parts, the e-commerce and the portal. The platform we're going to be talking about. Mobility is not an option. At one time in my career, I would say, do you need mobility? We've got it covered from both angles, from a browser perspective and from a native app perspective. Extensibility, that gets into the customizations and the personalization. JDE integration goes without saying. Robust functionality, I'll touch on that. Customer support, what we mean by that is extended functionality like live chats. You've got to look at e-commerce as an ecosystem where the e-commerce needs to integrate, like with live chat, even support to be able to do remote and quickly help customers. You want to cover every use case scenario and possibility. So with that, design and branding, and high level, when you do an e-commerce site, the GUI, the look and feel, whether it's a B2B that you're focused on. My definition of B2B is they're in your address book. They probably have AR terms. They're a customer. B2C is a new customer. It's wanting to use the website because it's 24/7 without geographical boundaries. Anybody that has so you want to allow anonymous users. Now, obviously, some companies, they need to work through, cross-channel conflicts with their dealers and things like that, or a hybrid site. And you could do hybrid in the past. Many times we did a multiple instance. That's not necessary anymore. Because we have the ability and it's right down here, multi-store, one instance, one administration controlling all the domains, the URLs, reflecting your brands or your stores or your geographic areas, the catalog, the currency, the checkout processes. They can all be different now, and they can extend not only to the user types but it also can extend to the base GUI template, the look and feel. So if you have multiple brands, obviously a strategy might be to have distinctive look and GUI feels. But the bottom line is every one of our customers tell us that they have multiple user types. And that's what I'm meaning right here, users. And you need roles. So many times you want to, as an example, create a super user and a customer that can enroll other users and maybe have full privileges, where the accounting folks maybe only want to deal with the invoices and doing, pay online invoice functionality or checking payments, things like that. CMS, that ties to the GUI template, the ability, a new promotion page. You have excess inventory, you want to sell it. That content management solution. SEO is bringing customers to your site, search engine optimization. Localization. We take simple but the best practices approach. For localization, other companies have to, we need to create the translations in separate folders. You need to do it. Go out and do the translate. Not with us. Well, we're going to talk about the API nature of our product, and so we're fully integrated against Google Translate APIs. There's no better source than using these free Google Translate services like localization. It's created at runtime, your edits, you got a data dictionary like J.D. Edwards, so you can do the overrides. So Portuguese, we're doing a project with Yum Brands, a big Fortune 500 JDE1 company. It's the 97 Pepsi Cola spinoff with Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC. And they have 22 language requirements. It's there with the ability to easily override, like French for somebody in Montreal versus British Columbia versus Paris. There's a lot of different nuances to how you want the French language to be translated. That's all covered. Widget editor, that basically means bring your own. Companies have marketing departments with Adobe or Drupal, and they're doing their own JavaScript and CSS and HTML, and we can work with that. You can work with it. We can work with it if you want to outsource it to us. And that's why when everything's considered, the way that we're positioned is we deliver tier 1 storefronts. And what I mean by that is from a B2B, you think Granger and a lot of the top, and from a B2C, you think, of course, Amazon and Walmart. I like Lowe's website, and a lot of those type companies. And let's go through it. So enterprise faceted search. What does that mean? Think of it as enterprise search and navigation. In faceted search, companies no longer have to manually create a product catalog. It should be automatically created. It should be indexed so that the search is intelligent with autocomplete and auto-predict type functionality for part number or description. And you go into Best Buy. Best Buy uses the very same faceted search engine that we use, Solar, and you can type in TV and drill down any way you want. It's an indexed from the item master, images, say from your marketing or Excel or a separate database, documents coming from your engineering database, safety material specs, things like that, and it really automates it. We'll show you that. And this is more of an explanation of indexing, but most folks that attend our webinars, they know what I mean when I say Best Buy. You type in TV and you get the attributes or the product. You get the product attributes, which are facets representing TVs, like brand and type of TV, curved, 4K, some of these new technologies. Size, that's price is a facet. You go into Best Buy, you type in appliance, and you're going to get a different set of facets. And you can drill down freeform any which way, and the catalog is dynamic. In other words, the old way, do not buy any e-commerce solution where you need to create the catalog, and maybe, whether it's from a marketing angle or you've got want to tie it to how you set up J.D. Edwards, GL categorization, CAT codes. But in fact, that's what we're doing. We natively work against the item master, the SRP CAT codes in J.D. Edwards. You can override it if you want, like your main category to be CAT code 1 or 2 or something else. But it's all indexed. It's all automatic. We did a demo. We promote personalized demos. I said, even though we do a SQL import routine with the production environments, I asked this customer to send me a data dump of their Excel, of their item masters in an Excel. They sent 130,000 items. We were able to index it in 20 minutes, solar indexing, and demonstrate it to that person. Now, when I get into this, and this is like the one item, a faceted search engine. You can do a Google search on this Forrester Wave report. It's B2B commerce suites, but they evaluated 11 e-commerce companies. Oracle Commerce, which is the Oracle acquisition of ATG and Endeca. And Endeca is the #1 commercial faceted search engine. So it's the equivalent of Solar. But the bottom line, Forrester said, noting the above, Magento and SAP Hybris and IBM WebSphere Commerce, you see that there, that 10 of the 11 vendors all leverage the open source engine Solar. The exception is Oracle. They bought Endeca, and that's the commercial, and it's very good. But they know it creates a high baseline. So there's 3 main enterprise search engines out there: open source Apache Solar, which we use in our application; Oracle Endeca, a great product, the #1 commercial product; and then another open source called Elasticsearch. And what does this do? It gives you the intelligent search. It allows you, data is indexed so you can apply filters. That Best Buy example, color blue in size medium, or a union of attributes, blue and red, size large. You need this. It's a mandate. In fact, if you Google Apache Solar, you'll get this, and you will see that, Best Buy. Solar was donated by CNET 17 years ago, and it's not just used for e-commerce applications for products. Netflix uses it. When you're searching through their video library, it's using Solar. eBay uses it. So eBay, obviously, all of their products. So it's a very, very powerful tool. The marketing, I'm going to show this. Upsell, cross-sell, coupons. And working against is an example here. Working against like the 4211, 4211.9 logic in J.D. Edwards that brings up most popular items across the board, or the most popular items for that login, which has to be cross-referenced against an address book. So this is very, very powerful marketing, and once again ties to our J.D. Edwards integration. I'll show that. In the J.D. Edwards integration, it's more than just advanced pricing and creating the order. It's configured items for manufacturers, C-type item master. You want the system to work against the segments and the values and the cross-segment editing and the assembly inclusion and the X rules, which are the pricing rules. For returns, especially tied to a credit card, partial return, full return. So there's a lot. We have 58 touch points with J.D. Edwards integration. You're not going to find a better solution real-time integrated to J.D. Edwards. The platform, and you've got to make sure that any solution you buy, let me relate it to J.D. Edwards. Lyle, he always accurately talks about J.D. Edwards as a platform and how they're extending it now with the AIS server for REST APIs and like the Cafe One tools, and that's what it is. J.D. Edwards, you have that tools layer and then the application layer on top of it. And the tools layer gives, and we're set up very, very similar. This is a webinar, and I want to get to the demo, but you've got to make sure that the solution, it's a platform. You can do integration, further development. I'll touch on that. And we're very modern, and that's why we can show it from a browser, even third-party integration. We have customers like Christie's that came to us and said, we've got a shopping cart. It's called My Christie's. It's our enterprise bidding and auctioning. We want J.D. Edwards integration. We want to allow paying invoices. We want new invoice calculation automatically from the middleware that we select, and that's what it was. It's our application implemented in an API toolset fashion at Christie's, so we have all the functionality embedded in their application. That's a term called headless e-commerce, and it's very popular. And so our platform, it's a no programming platform. Everything is visual modeling, and it's a service-oriented architecture platform. We have 400 services integrating against every field in J.D. Edwards, down to the data dictionary to pick up the default label, to whether you want to integrate with master business functions or Z-file, your choice. The logic is a canvas, the workflow is a canvas, the GUI is a web part, and it gives, and the platform it's like J.D. Edwards, if you're familiar with Object Management Workbench. It has change management between, like J.D. Edwards, the dev environment, the test environment, the production environment. Any kind of change management is managed. It's modern. At the web part level, you're isolating any issues so you can't affect another area with bugs. It can support any cloud system. We're partial to Amazon AWS, but we've implemented in Velocity, in Microsoft Azure, and Rackspace data centers. So whether it's on-prem, and that's a sign of a mature platform. Also, a mature platform has APIs. Check out this quote from Gartner. And this was a 2016. You can see, and once again, go ahead and Google this and download the report. But they say by next year, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, they said this, 50% will integrate with more than 15 vendors. That's another reason why you need the platform. We're using faceted search engine. Our platform does go beyond J.D. Edwards, like I said, to other ERPs. So we're agnostic from that perspective. I talked about Google Translate, Google Analytics for reporting, tax. Of course, we integrate natively with Vertex or J.D. Edwards because those are business function centric. But we also integrate against the new tax packages out there like Avalara. Lutron came to us and said, hey, we've got a third party called Taxware. No problem. We were able to create the APIs, either the SOAP web services or the REST APIs. Logistics, obviously, you want to, most companies, they do want to get the accurate. They want the system. And how do you get the accurate? You work against your contract. It's a web service. You need postal codes, which is the branch, plant, and the ship to. You need at a minimum weight. You can do it with that. Dimensional values add a further level of accuracy. Live chat, you see that. Even payment gateways for credit card. We take an agnostic approach. We integrate with 10 payment gateways, and we can integrate with any payment gateway because it's just creating the APIs. Now, we separate ourselves from other companies. They're programming language. They're doing things from a Java, .NET, and then there's another approach, I call it the e-commerce. WebSphere and Hybris and Magento, those were all written in the mid-90s. They're what I call monolithic, millions of lines of code. And then they added, and they're very powerful, by the way, but that's why it's a $1 million project, and that's why they are in fact suited, and I'll admit this, like with retail. If you are Office Max, you might need something like that, but the direction is like Amazon. There's a famous Jeff Bezos, the new $100 billion, as of, what do they call it, Black Friday? Yeah, as of Black Friday. But it's famous 2002, that everything their developers are doing, expose their data through API, expose the interface to developers. We do this. Many times we do an API demo. We've got these REST APIs. That's why we have a native app and our competition doesn't. You need APIs. And so we take the same approach as Amazon. Smartphone, we have the browser, which is form factoring the screens I'm going to show you. We also have a native app, and you know what? I want to get to the demo. Robust functionality, 10 ways to find items. There's no way I'm going to show you everything, but notice this last item, schematic ordering. If you want to do parts level ordering and you feel that creating, say, an exploded assembly or sub-assembly with hot spots on it, or showing a BOM grid and just picking from there, that's out of the box. And that's why our application is less expensive. We've taken out of the box, especially for manufacturers, distributors, the sweet verticals of J.D. Edwards, consumer goods, and we've created the planning and execution. You've got to have requirements. You have to have a platform that can do the customizations and personalization. It's the sales order. There's no area inside of J.D. Edwards when you think of ERP that usually requires more personalization. But without penalty, with a platform, you're not, the customizations aren't a hit with doing an upgrade or taking it a step further. Results, ROI, metric. Companies have to do this. What's conversion rate? Conversion rate is total number of site visitors that purchase divided by the total number of site visitors. What's average order value? It's the sum of the value of all orders divided by a number of orders. That's that key metric there. What's repeat customer rate? That's huge. It's the new customers in a given time period divided by the customers who return and make a second purchase. That gives you your RCR rates, and then even customer lifetime value, projecting the profits you expect to receive, say, over a 3-year and taking the net present value of those projected cash flows. So these are the analytics that I encourage folks to take. And customer surveys, before the project, during the project, it's continuous. And what I mean by that, you should do surveys continuously, and when it's customer facing, when it's sales order, you're always building onto it. Extensibility, and this is the customization. A company of ours, EP Henry, they said, can you add price book functionality? And this is a PDF, an auto PDF. EP Henry, they're in New Jersey. They do the hardscaping, so the pavers and the concrete. If you've ever gone in a garden center, that's what they're doing. They're looking at the Unilock, which is their competitors, or the vendor price books. That's all automated now. We could have done an intelligent Excel. They wanted a PDF with images, advanced pricing. So the customers actually generate and it takes about 20 minutes because it's a long PDF, and then it's email sent to them. Sales enablement, enabling the website for salespeople. Warranty lookup. Mercury Marine, one of our longest customers, they extended it to warranty lookup, claims management, serial number registration. We have other customers, allow us to pick an order type. We even have a customer, Cantex in Fort Worth, they use E1. They said their agents want to do STOT, which is intercompany transfers. They were surprised. We showed it to them out of the box. OT is PO receipt, but we had it from our projects. And, this is an, item number cross-reference. Is that working from the 4104? I had a master cross-reference, an outside table, be it an Excel or a database. We can do it. Treasury Wine Estates, their branch plants are vineyards, so their customers select Napa Valley or Sonoma Valley or Australia or New Zealand. So their orders have to be branch plant specific, and so we have that logic. Or for other companies, make availability and even ordering at the line item level across the branch plants. Other companies defaulted to the branch plant of the customer master, but we have this capability to do that. And then I talked about customer support, and oh my gosh, I'm halfway through, so let me get right to the demo here. So I have both J.D. Edwards and I have a demo environment of our website. So when I say best practices, all these pages are 100% soft-coded. I'm not going to have time to show you that today, but let's take an example. And this is, by the way, one of multiple GUI templates that you can buy. And this GUI template is referred to as a B2B, B2C. It's a hybrid GUI template. And a lot of people like to have the, what do you call that, carousel slider, right? Yeah, so, you know, your images, where you can go from one to the other. Top selling items. So this is the login page. This is the 4211, 4211 We try to minimize our round trips to J.D. Edwards. So this is batched the night before. So this represents across all of your orders your top selling items for in your J.D. Edwards. And you can do it like 4211.9. Do you want to do it year to date, 3 years to date, going back to the history? Those are all the parameter settings, popular categories, things like Facebook plugins. This is so easy for us. Marketing links to, well, that's going to our page, but it could be to anywhere, and this is all adjustable. Let me do a B2B use case scenario. I'm going to log in as a Paul Johnson. So with a Paul Johnson, so now at this point, I'm a user, and this is called the customer homepage. Now, do you want the customer to go to a homepage where they could say or make decisions such as, and we have processing options that say either default to the branch plant or select multiple branch plants. So maybe they want to make those types of decisions up front, or they quickly want to look at, you know, their most recent orders. And then you want to minimize the clicks. They want to come in here, and with one click, there's their 3 most recent orders. Here's order detail that they're seeing. So if I contrast that with a customer homepage where they, you know, going to the most recent tracking numbers, they know they placed an order last week and they want to see the status. Those are the tracking numbers. Or the other option, of course, is to, you know, from the menu, go into find and track orders. All of our pages have filtering up there. So I go 3300, say do a filter on that, click on order details, and there we are right now. So this is an order, and real time coming from J.D. Edwards. So think of our application as a veneer, as a browser layer, real time with J.D. Edwards. These statuses here are coming directly from J.D. Edwards. Here's that, you know, tracking number tied to one of the shipped items. It's a split order. You can do any type of like a document association, and now we're doing it on this page at the order level. So I'm showing that. But if I go back to the account homepage, what we're trying to do is we're trying to give shortcuts. And not only are we doing it on the page, and by the way, notice the screen for the customer. On the prior, on the login, it was going against 4211, 4211.9 for all the companies. Now we're doing the top 10 or 6 or 25 items for that customer. We're going against 4211, 4211.9 against Paul Johnson, who's associated against address book 4242. Recent orders. So, you know, good information here at the line item level on recent orders, recent views. And you see this as part of best practice. Another thing with the home page is, and you're seeing this even at the Amazon level, the My Account profile. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to copy best practices so companies are familiar. And by the way, we offer free test drives. Like that example, give us your, an Item Master Excel, give us a URL to do branding. You can test drive everything that I'm showing you on your own. So what are lists? Lists are very, very convenient. You can deploy lists of, say, top items or a promotion, or customers can create lists, like a use case scenario. A customer logs in, they spend 30 minutes creating a 50-line item order. Then the customer says to themselves, I order a lot of these items over and over and over again. I'm going to create a list. So you create these personalized order lists with checkboxes there that says, add selected items to the order. And I added those 2 items to the order. So we have a lot of that, an order section, a profile, the customer's account information. This is that portal inquiry I was telling you about. Going in against finance and AR tables real time. Do you just want to show what the running balance and credit is, or do you want to show more information like that? Account would be like open invoices, and even the ability, if you wanted, to come in here and say, I want to select a couple of invoices and proceed to the payment pad. And now I'm showing you some of our credit card functionality, and I'm going to show more of this in the demo, but I'm going to take an existing payment profile that's been tokenized and just do, excuse me, and authorize on that. So this is the portal functionality that I'm explaining. And what we can see here is there's the transaction. You can see with our credit card, we're middleware between J.D. Edwards and the payment gateway. A payment gateway is required for card not present, where you don't have a swipe machine, and it could be any payment gateway. Even unapplied cash, if I wanted to come in here and say, I want to pay $250, and I spelled my name wrong. That's okay. So I proceed to the payment option here. And once again, this is an example of just coming in and, once again, selecting a profile and doing an authorized payment. So this is the portal, the inquiry. Now look what happens next. I come in here and I go to paid invoices. So now paid invoices, and once again, we have the filtering on top. What you can see is when I did, and I did basically customer online bill pay. A lot of companies want, the movement. It's like, I don't write checks anymore. They want to move away from paper invoices and postage and checks. And in fact, a lot of companies, because the credit card hit is so high and can really affect the bottom line margin, they're doing it only for ACH, which is very, very low cost. Credit cards, especially American Express, the fees, as everybody knows, 2% or more is high. But you notice this, the invoice, the batch number, the batch ID. If I went into the FOB 311, you'd see all of that. And for the cash receipts, that's an RU. This is the detailed level of integration that you get into. We even have, the statements, subscription. So if I wanted, and this is coming real time from J.D. Edwards, and do that type of print. Or maybe you want, after a customer logs in, you just want that customer go right to your product catalog. And once again, you can pick and choose. Now this is where I start talking about the power of Apache Solar. That's why I started mentioning it and talking about it, so I could pick a category from the left, or I can pick a category over here, and you can see I selected 55 items. And this is the dynamic catalog that we index, and there's 348 items, but if I, free-form drill down, there's 20 items under there, and I can further drill down. Maybe I want to look at this product catalog or product class called chemicals and fluids. So I'm drilling down there, and I want to look at, say, a brand. Well, the brand is American, so I want to look at just the new items and not the clearance or the obsolete. So I'm looking at 3 items there, and you see. And this is what faceted search engine is. This is dynamic. There's nothing to do. We indexed it. You have to add, obviously, product attributes and characteristics. So as an example, if I wanted to just order from here, take this and do a quantity order 3 and add it to the cart, I can do that, along with the other items that I ordered. Now we're up to 10 quantity in the shopping cart. So this can show the quantity or the number of items. If I wanted to look at the view here, I can get a more detailed view, retail, net. If I wanted to go into the item detail page, I can get a more detailed. We can have multiple images. Once again, recommendations. This is the marketing that we were talking about, the upsell. And we see that base price is 31. We have configuration parameters. Do you want to show base price with the customer's advanced pricing? Yes or no. And once again, you can select it down to the user level. So for this account, if you wanted to show advanced pricing one way, look at availability. We have a processing option that says, first off, show availability, yes. Show availability for this account, this role type, this user as a calculated number, or show it as a condition. If it was a condition, instead of this number here, which is the on-hand, hard, soft commits, coming up with a number, it would just say in stock or out of stock. Even integration at this level, see price. We're going out to J.D. Edwards right now, and I can see at 200, there's a price break. This is coming real time from J.D. Edwards. Even with B2B, companies want to show the advanced pricing logic. Their customers understand, that they're getting special contract pricing. We can do this. And so Suman's our Chief Technology Officer. Suman, showing this advanced pricing here, we're actually, to do it accurately, we're going in and creating a dummy order to calculate.
Yeah, you simulate an order and you get all the advanced pricing lines from the cache, JDE order cache, and then display it.
Okay. And once again, if this level of integration and detail, and some people want it, their customers love it, they understand, or their agents or their salespeople love it, but it just, ties to what we're able to do. So I'm going to add that to the shopping cart. And I also want to go back to the catalog. And I pretty much focused on the traditional, and you see this with, like I cited the example of Best Buy that also uses solar. There's even other ways. If I was to go to infamous Amazon site, they've got a control up here. Whoops, it's this one right here. They've got a control up here, the departments. So it shows all of their departments, and I could drill down by there. Or do you see this? I can take their departments and drill down that way. So once again, that's best practices. So we decided to do the same thing. We're saying same type of control that Amazon has, and we've got, this is a demo environment. And you want to, is this by brand if you're a master distributor, or is this by CAT code 1 or CAT code 2 or anything else? Or you can see here, fasteners, and I'm able then to drill down to anchors. So this is another way, and you can see what solar did. It automatically selected these two. I could do a remove all, I can do a selective. In other words, I can just as easily expand upward as I'm doing expanding downward. And then there's other ways of placing orders. You see this on Grainger, bulk pad. Let's go to the shopping cart. So there's the shopping cart right there. Some of our new features, a floating widget. And then how do you want to view? And I didn't show this with the catalog, and I should have, but this is what we mean by B2B and B2C. If you look at Amazon, they're showing products in what we call a multi-line fashion. And by the way, you have full control over this. Or, like on Grainger, a grid view is more B2B, and maybe you don't even want the image. If your users, they know your product probably inside and out. So this is more of the grid view. So that's why we're calling this a hybrid. And when you deploy, you might say, I just want to default to one view or the other, or I do in fact want to allow my customers to select the B2B or the B2C view. Then there's other ways of adding items. So I can come in here and say, do a search on the word lock. So I'm going to do a search on lock, and I get 3 items, and I'm going to select that. And this is simply called quick add. doing a quick add, adding another item, kind of similar to the bulk pad here. And then we have the My List. I already showed you that. We have the mass file upload. So I can come in here, and as an example, I can choose a file. Let me open up this file before I select it. So this file, and like Treasury Wine Estates, they said, we want mass upload, but not only part number and description, we want unit of measure. For Treasury Wine Estates, unit of measure like bottle and case is important to them in a mass upload. In this particular case, this is a bogus number. So this is for the more sophisticated user. If I was to, say, upload that catalog, it said, hey, it added those 4 items, but J.D. Edwards does not have that. It couldn't be found. So what we're doing here is we're providing, and whether you want to show that or not, we've got all this robust functionality we've developed over 12 years that addresses what I'm going to call the web challenged user. They like grid order, and maybe they want to go to the large order grid, and they know the part numbers, or they want to do search versus, say, the more advanced user that can take the order point calculation out of their QuickBooks or whatever their ERP is, export it as a text or Excel file, and do a quick upload. So we're addressing all the use case scenarios. I can manage the card. I can update it. I can save it. I can add it to a list right now. Here's, once again, top selling items. These are widgets. We have processing options. Yes, no. Do you want to show these on this page? It's very, very flexible. Let's just go ahead and proceed to the checkout. So I went to the checkout here. Let's do a request date of, say, the 31st. Let's do a PO number of, what's the date today, Katie?
12, 14.
Did you say 12 or 14?
14.
Okay. December 14, PO 5544. Okay. And, instructions, docs 9 through 18. And shipping method, this is that web service call out here. Catalog. Now, in the Amazon, it doesn't show the items in the shopping cart, but you can click on it. You want to see the items. Once again, you want to show the items as B2B or B2C if you want to do that. But the big decision right now is in the checkout process, do you want credit card or do you want purchase order? I already showed credit card from an online bill pay perspective. Let's come in here and show credit card. Now, we have processing options that say, go out to J.D. Edwards, create the orders even before getting the credit card detail. That's 10964. If I was to go to J.D. Edwards, and I was to show that order in J.D. Edwards, and do a find, do you see how there's a hold code right here? So that's your decision. There's 25 reasons for credit card failure. Obviously, insufficient funds, expiration, card number not correct, reported stolen, or a transmission error. So a lot of people like this. Put it in J.D. Edwards, park it on a hold code so that if the customer calls back and, oh my God, I spent 30 minutes on a 50-line order, no problem, it's right here. Or they can actually do it from a self-service perspective once they resolve the credit card. The other method is to simply do all the credit card functionality and then create the order. So now with the customer, with the credit card, we take the highest level of PCI integration. So if we look at, and this is what I mean by integration, let's go to this card number and let's do a view frame source. Where I'm entering a new credit card, new payment profile, credit card details, which PCI calls cardholder data, I'm entering it at CyberSource. Visa owns CyberSource. They also own Authorize.net, two very popular payment gateways. PayPal is a popular payment gateway. All these payment gateways now support hosted payment page. So per PCI, the cardholder data processing, transmit, and storage, which is the tokenization, it's 100% off of our application. We have no idea of the cardholder data, but by using this iframe, and that's what it is. It's a secure iframe connection to the gateway. In this case, Visa owns servers. And I just wanted to point that out. I could use an existing. And by the way, once it's tokenized and sent back as a token, in fact, let me show the token from a split payment. So I have this amount. I want to do a split payment. The token is not cardholder data. You need that token, the XXX/4 digits for the returns, for subsequent orders like what I'm doing right here. I'm showing a split payment, so let's put 1,000 here. Let's go e-check of the remaining amount there, do an authorized payment, and the authorization was a success. And once again, at the bottom here, you're seeing the transaction history. Now, there's no authorization number with e-check. And once again, e-check, that you're working through the ACH, and it's pennies versus solid low-digit percentages as far as the fee with credit cards. That's why with online bill pay, a lot of people either selectively only allow certain people to do credit cards. So if I go back to J.D. Edwards, we can see if I did a refresh on that it's secure. You notice in the checkout when I did a, let's go here to the sales order, let's go to the order header. When I did ship to docs, that could have been order level instructions, and there it is right there. We said put it in delivery instructions. Even in the line items, I could have added a line item comment. It'd be in there as a media object. So at this particular point, if the, say, customer, coming back here, wanted to, well, first let me show this. If I came up here, orders, there's that order. Now it's one of the most top 3 recent orders. There it is right there. I can also, once again, go to the menu. There's that most recent order. Let's do a change on it. Let's come in here and changing an order. And first off, do you want to allow it on your website or not? And you have to define up to when, up to pick, up to ship confirm. Pretty much everybody does not allow change order after it's shipped. And change could be, the shipping, change could be the request date, change could be adding items, or change could be canceling an item, which is what I'm doing right here. And it could be a workflow process where they're asking permission to cancel an item, and it goes to somebody that would then approve it, or excuse me, or in the case of our demo environment here, you can see it's canceled, and the status codes are whatever your cancel status codes are. For us, it's 999 on the next status. So there's tons of integration. We don't have time to get into everything. The last thing I wanted to show is different user types. So as an example, I did an end customer, Paul Johnson. Let's log in as a salesperson. So if I was to log in as Chester Rakes, so Chester Rakes is a salesperson who is not then obviously directly associated. We're taking a subset of the address book and we're saying these 5 accounts are Chester Rakes. So he does what we call set as customer, impersonate a customer. So this is Chester with his Apple iPad at the customer site, no problem. He can answer any questions in regards to, status, bill pay and payments. But Chester can also do an order create. But Chester doesn't want to do a conventional select items, go to the shopping cart, go through a checkout process. Chester doesn't need to do that. Chester just wants to, they're at the site, yeah, let's go with this item, and standing with the purchasing person, and, add some intelligence here, do an update to J.D. Edwards, maybe come in here and, note that this is a Chester PO, and once again, ship instructions, 1, 2, 3. In fact, on this one, let's do a line level instruction. So this is line item comment 2. I'll assign the comment. Select the shipping here. And maybe Chester's going to give them a promotion code and do an apply on that. And you can see it was a 5% promotion code, and do a quick submit. And, PO number is required. So let's come in here and do a quick submit. And so this is 10965. If I come in here, in fact, let's go to order details. 10965. But the point is, we even have different ways. And there's that media object there, line item comment on number 2. But the point is, I just showed you a different way of creating an order. It was one page. A salesperson, you can set the, if they wanted to override the price, obviously, an end customer. So it can be set up a number of different ways. I don't have time to get into the admin and there's tons of other areas of functionality. I do want to hand it over for the last 5 minutes. Hopefully we're going to be going a little bit over the hour, but let me hand it over to Suman to show you a little bit about our platform, because our platform is so important. So I emphasize the importance of the platform, and you need to know what's behind the application. And that's what Suman's going to show you right now.
Absolutely. So what I have pulled up is a DV environment. It's the same site that Doug was showing. In every production scenario, we have all 3 environments, DV, QA, and PD. And, we don't copy and paste. We have a platform where you can do the development and promote the sources. It's very much like how you have OMW package promotion. So here I'm going to find and track order. And I'm sure Doug showed that to you as part of his demo. And I want to make a few quick changes to this web part. As you see here, these web part numbers are here. So every pages are made up of these widgets, and one of the widgets is web part 267. So I want to go to the development app server, and here is my widget 267. I am inside EASYProcess. This is the platform. So every time you make a change, you have to check out the source. If you know OMW, it's very similar to getting a token for a source so that nobody else can make the change. Once the source is checked out, as you see, this is very much like WYSIWYG kind of interface. You can drag and drop. This is exactly how it looks like when it runs. So here I want to go and add a new field from JDE, order header table. As you see here, these are all the order header table. We also have intelligence to tie this with the JD Edwards data dictionary. So you are looking at branch plant here, the business unit with the field here. So I can drag and drop it here and double click to choose the label. So I just added SHMCU, which happens to be a field from sales order header file for branch plant. You see the description automatically pulled in as business unit. If I just go ahead and do a find, you will see I will get the business unit field here. That's what it takes to add any field, and it can be any other field from that table.
Or a custom table.
Or a custom
or
table.
An outside table.
Look at all these fields. Everything is available here. What you don't have to do, you don't have to compile a code in Java or C# and then copy the DLL across. It's all done from the platform. So I want to make another quick change. I want to add a button to this form. So here I am, right before the return. I'm going to drag and drop a button here. And I'm going to rename that email order info. Then I can double click and put some logic inside it. And I can just go here. This is where our toolset business logic execution comes into play. Here I can do an inquire on JDE data.
We have 400 services, over 400.
And I would say get tracking number. I can drag and drop the tracking number. As you see, this is a custom table. So you can also have access to F55 tables.
Or 56, or
Yeah. And let's tie this with the order number that's on the web page. So that with a drag and drop, as you see, you are making this making the connection from the web page, the web part to the, and here's the tracking number to the service. Let's go and do another inquire. This time let's get the alpha name. So now, as you know, for this I have to go to F0101. Here I can do right click to do a query builder, and here I can do, as you see, it's pulling up all the tables in JDE for me. So I can simply say F0101, F0116, and I can do a join. So you see the join is here. Then I can go and say, okay, bring this address information from the logged in user details. So here are the logged in user billing address number. And I'm going to drag and drop, let's say I want the alpha name. And let's say I want the address line 1. So here I have ADD1, this is the address line 1. And then let's say I want to email all of this to someone. So I'm going to put the email here.
another service.
Another service. And just going to hard code my email here. This could be coming from who's who for the customer, email subject. Let's say order number. And just tie this with the order number from the page. And in the email body, just say alpha name. So I'm going to drag and drop this. Address line 1. I'm going to drag and drop this. And then tracking number. And I'm going to drag and drop the tracking number. So with this, I have changed the email format to a text. You can also have email format to HTML. And this is ready. I can do a find again. And that's how you do make a change. So here's the order email that came in. There is no tracking number, but this one I found has the tracking number. I did the same thing again. There's the order number, here's the tracking number. You like this change, you can just go ahead with our change management system and just promote this. As you see, it's promoting from DB to QA. And I'm going to promote this from QA to PD. So as I was just mentioning in the before, no need to do copy and paste. It's all done fully managed. You can manage who can do promote, who can not do promote, find and track order, and there's your business unit. There is your email info. That's how you make a change and promote it with the platform.
And the business value is personalization. It's customization. It's low cost. I came from another company that was programming language, and so Suman is an example. Just to do that email step there, if you're doing that in .NET,
it could take a day to do it with a good .NET programmer, and you're not talking about testing because you are changing the code, which requires the whole recompile of your all DLL in a store. So you have to make sure that you are not breaking anything else. Here, when I made this change to a widget, it is never going to touch any other widgets. If you are familiar with JDE, similar thing. In JDE, if you are changing an object P4210, you are not breaking P4311. It's the same thing here. But in a typical .NET programming situation, you are every upgrade is like a tool set upgrade.
And I was at the competition, and I saw horror stories with solutions that aren't programming language based. One of my clients at that company had a bug, and they thought it was resolved. They moved it to production on a Friday, and over the weekend they lost $80,000 because it affected the promotions. And the company came back to the company and said, hey, we want you to pay for at least a portion because of your software. And the company said, my old company said, no. They go, you're responsible for approving from, moving from QA to PD. And what they did, moving to PD, it was a copy paste. They didn't have any of this change management. I had companies coming, and I discovered this over the years. You don't have a change management system. It's buggy. It's taken us forever. Little things like this matter. This development ownership, too, at the other company, it was vendor lock. You can only do things at the vendor. If you want to have any level of development ownership, I can send you, if you just inquire, it's a 2-week course. About 40% of our customers learn EASYProcess. They do the upgrades themselves. They take over the customizations themselves. They create new applications themselves. So that's really what separates us, and that's why I emphasize the platform so much. Now, we've gone a few minutes over the hour. Katie, any questions?
No, there's not any questions, but we will follow up with the recording, and then we'll also send you the slide deck. So I know that some of those items went kind of fast, but we'll have all of the bullet points still on there for you.
All right, and everybody, once again, a free test drive. I've been around in enterprise sales for a while, and I love the new environment with cloud and SaaS, and we will give you, at no cost, give us an Excel dump. We'll index it through Solar. You work through your items against our 9.2. We've also done proof of concepts for companies, tying it to your own J.D. Edwards environment. The bottom line is we're an easy company to work with, and we want to remove all of that front-end project evaluation risk and uncertainty off the table, or we'll put it on us. We're that confident of a company. So we will, myself, my sales team, follow up with you personally if we don't talk to you before the holidays, and enjoy the upcoming Christmas, New Year's, and thank you very much, and have a good rest of the day. Thank you.